camera is shaking a lot, but because we're on the forest road. But we're going to just take it as it is right now. We were having a conversation. My mom asked me, she's like, she's watching Westworld. I watched a couple of episodes and I stopped. Just because I don't watch TV that much, but I see that Anthony Hopkins knows exactly what everything is about, and a lot of concepts that he weaves in there I understand fully because they were brought to me on my spiritual awakening journey. They were brought to me without watching the movie, right? They come, and then I saw that's exactly that he knows. Well, basically my mom was asking me about something that okay, go ahead and just ask the question.
Okay, so I'm watching it religiously, as if somebody, I would imagine, reading the religious book, looking for answers, and how it's all created. So I think it's an amazing piece of work, and I can go back and forth, different episodes. Like it's like you always find something new there. Anyway, so enough of advertisement. Anyway, so my question was only what is I understood a lot, but I can't understand how is it when the characters that are robots, I mean, if you can say so, like hosts when they're already out and then they need to get information, so they get connected to recorded past or records to receive some message or something. They go back with like a digital whatever construction. They go back into the time and they walk through the rooms and they see themselves as they are in the beginning of the movie. Like they see themselves doing exactly the same thing, and everything is going on. They are invisible, but it's them too. And
so just like a clear example would be Dolores, you said?
Dolores driving a can, and then at the end of the first how you call it?
Season?
Yeah, at the end of the first season, they're both Dolores and anyway, they go inside to see what's there, what matrix left, what kind of message is left for them, and they understand that they have to go inside to look for this message, to look for the beginning for the center, whatever it is, and so they go into this thing like they are in the present while going inside into something that already happened. And so as she walked by, she see herself driving the can. You know, they go and see, and already as we know it, as we see it, it's all changed. I mean, there was a movie that continued and became something else, and they go back and they see everything how it was, and it's just like play.
It's like a moment frozen in time.
Yes.
Yeah, and you can get to that moment that is frozen in time.
It's frozen in time, but it's still moving. Like they keep living
but it's
life.
moving probably like it's an action, right? Or
yes.
a specific scenario that keeps replaying itself. It's not like a
probably.
It's like it doesn't have a continuum to it.
But
right?
you will not know because you don't stay there.
You don't stay there.
You just pass by.
You just pass by. Yeah. So
how is that, and how is it applied? Also, from that you understand. Even though they go to get a message in the present, and you also understand that this present already happened before. It's only shown to us as a present. We receive it as a present, but then if you watch until the end, all seasons, you understand that in that present they refer to what already happened in the future. It's like
Well,
let's close the door. Let's close because the sun is getting strong.
yeah, it's too strong. I like it, but
Okay, so let's leave it. I can
right,
handle.
we're turned now. Is it still? Let me know. I'm gonna turn it.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Because we're facing west.
I can
now.
actually get undressed.
Yeah. All right. Well, I can close it if you want. Yeah.
No, I will not be getting undressed. Don't worry.
So, this is how I understand it. This brings me back to our conversation when we talk about this layer of reality where everything is a knowing. It all happens simultaneous. I believe some people call it gematria. I don't particularly have a name for it, but I know this is a layer between the astral realm, the dream state, and this reality that we see outside. I usually, when I pass through that reality, I understand, all of a sudden this knowledge just unfolds like a sphere all around me, and I see and I understand. It happens right before I wake up, and it's so quick, but there is no need for time there in that layer of reality, because everything is just is, and you are the center. You can observe that wholeness of everything as one. But as soon as I exit that place, as I pass through it, and I wake up in this reality that we are now, I try to explain that wholeness, that oneness, that something that is happening, everything happens simultaneously, and you're able to perceive it as such and understand it as such. But here I would have to break it down to become palatable, to I would have to have a sequence here, right? A sequence of events. Say that this happened, and then that happened, and that happened, because somehow this particular layer of reality, this is how it works. That not we can't perceive things happening all at once simultaneously. We see them as separate, as linear, as one being and therefore we think that one causes the other. But in reality, one does not cause the other. It happens simultaneously. Only because we have time here, we are perceiving things one and then the other in excerpts, in pieces. So we think that they all happening in different times. But this is only because this is where we are. It's not a very desirable place to be, because it is because it gets so confusing, because we think that there is a cause and an effect. Meanwhile, there is no such thing in different realities, right? In that reality of all-knowing. So here,
there is a cause and effect, but you're only jumping between stop кадр, как сказать, between movies, and it's one scene, movie of one scene, and you just jumping by your action, because it's already happened anyway, and you're just jumping in different movie.
I will give you an example, a really cool example of what I mean by what I just said. Maybe it connects to what you said. what we see all around this lifetime, everything happens all at once, but it's broken down for our understanding into a long string, a long tape of events. What I mean by that is, this is a great example I've experienced. When I got this car, this vehicle, I am getting the phone call. I'm getting the phone call. I'm gonna continue this. The video got cut off because I had an important phone call I had to answer. But now we are back. So a perfect example for what I'm talking about would be me for things happening simultaneously, and whatever. Well, this is how it is. When I got this car, I brought it. It's from CarMax. It was a used minivan, and I needed an all-wheel drive, so I ordered it from. They were transporting it from Phoenix, Arizona. I had to pay $199 for the transportation. I looked at the pictures. The pictures looked great. Everything looked fine. You know, there was mileage on it, but it was what I needed to travel to nature, to be safe with the children. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna transport it. When the car came, I went in to get it, so excited, and then I look inside, and the car inside is just full of scratches that were not shown on the pictures online, right? There's all of the leather. I don't know if it's real leather or not, but it's scratched. It's scratched. The ceiling is scratched, like big scratches all around. And, you know, I got really sad for a moment, thinking, well, this is so unfair. Why they didn't tell me? Why they didn't show how bad it was on the pictures? And then I recollected myself, and something inside of me told me, relax, you did the scratches. And I thought, okay, I guess, how could I? I'm so careful, but okay, I did the scratches. And guess what? As I am traveling in this car with my kids, well, the first thing, it was right before New Year's that I got the car, and I needed to get New Year's tree, Christmas tree, and before this, I had a truck, right? I had a Ram truck, and I could just throw a tree in the trunk. And all of a sudden, oh no, actually I got it right after New Year's. So I already brought the tree in the trunk of my old car. It was standing in my apartment. And then I switched the cars, and I was like, oh, how am I gonna get the tree out to the trash, right? This doesn't have a trunk. So I opened the trunk, but I can put the seats down. I put the seats down, and I put the tree in, and all of a sudden some branches scratched the roof. And I thought, oh my God, I remember this knowing passing through me that don't worry about the scratches, you did them. Everything that you're worried about, or everything that you're disagreeing about, it's because you did something either in the future or in the past that makes it so right now, so that you are and you're now upset about it, but in reality you did it. And then I got a cat, and while taking the cat with us to Mount Shasta, he scratched all of the seats exactly where they were scratched. And then we had to transport other things and you know how relaxed I was at the moment when those second scratches happened, because I knew that that already happened before, and now I realized that I did them, and that I might just as well just relax, because that's what it is. But when I received something, right, and I thought that it came outside of me, it created this tension within me. But what I'm saying is that this is an example, just one example, because they're very hard to explain exactly why everything is broken down in front of us in the form of different events so that we can understand. Because when it happens all at once, we are in this specific existence level, unable to perceive it like that. We need to break it down. But the difference is for us to be able to, the trick is to be able to perceive that whatever is happening, it is because it's coming from we did it to ourselves, whatever misery, whatever something. And the trick is when you're living in your day-to-day life, in the moment to moment, in the presence, then that you recognize that I can do this right now, or I can do that right now, and choose wisely and think of your past, because you don't know the future yet here, right? But you know the past, and you think of your past self and think, for example, if I'm doing the scratches right now, if I was to think about my past self, I would be more careful. So my past self would receive this scar without that many scratches. Do you understand? So now that I see it, I'm like, I can focus on that a little more, and then that past reality will change. And then another way to explain those things, that everything is happening all at once, only it's broken down, is that video you showed me about the girl who has undergone a crazy awakening, and she's very clear and receives guidance. And she says that our reality under Saturn works like this. It's like a line that is unpredictable, right? That is an unpredictable line of events, and in order to understand it, some beings know how to freeze it. So they would go ahead and they will put a net over it, like a matrix. They would focus on one specific line of that craziness, right? And they will then repeat it, magnified, and then to the level where it becomes like this, where you can walk into that specific reality and examine it from the inside, that frozen piece of reality. So according to her, I think when what's her name, the main character, Dolores. When Dolores enters that reality where she's sitting, where she's dropping the cup, that's an equivalent of that frozen piece of reality that was frozen in time, right? Because it's already there, but in order for us to be able to observe it, we freeze it in time, and we're able to go back to it and look at it again, kind of like certain memories that we have, right? I have a clear memory. Somehow this moment is frozen in time when you and me when I was very little, and you took us to Sochi with your girlfriend, me and her daughter, and we were on the beach. We just exited the train and we were hungry, and you made us the sandwiches with kalbasa, bread, and bell pepper. That smell, that taste, and that scene, I don't remember what happened before it, what happened after it. It's frozen in time for me. That, for some reason, and sometimes it just pops up in my memory. So, and I pass by that moment, but it's just there, and it keeps happening over and over and over again. So I'm thinking that might be those frozen in time moments, because they were maybe somehow frozen for examination by someone, right? But now they're just present there. Do you understand?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I like it. But,
okay.
Yeah.
It's
yes. And so
another example to bring it home. Maybe this will bring it home. Today in the morning, my mom, she's like, I want to have coffee before we go. From where we're camping by the lake, by the Medicine Lake, and car camping. And I had an important phone call that I needed to pick up.
And get into the area.
We needed to get into the area of reception. We were an hour and a half away from the nearest reception. So I was like, I don't know, if we have time to warm up the water. She said, I'll have it cold. And while she was rushing, she spilled some coffee and sugar on the ground. And she goes, well, maybe that's how I got addicted to coffee, because as an Indian, I walked by this place at some point in the past, and I saw this little thing that was spilled, and I smelled it, and it was coffee. And now, here I am, a consumer of coffee. And that's how, basically everything happens all within this one place that we're in, and one is always connected to the other, right? Like your every move. How do you explain it? I don't know how to explain it clearly, but basically that's the same concept, that everything is happening all at once. But we couldn't put you as a Native American there at the same time as you spilling that coffee, and that, let's say, Native American smelling or trying that coffee and getting, I like. So, and there, the Native American explains it as, a woman came from the sky, or, there is this thing that a miracle happened and I found this grain that never was here. Well, in a form of a fairy tale,
Yeah.
So
everything can be put in a form of fairy tale.
To explain
it. Yes, that's the lightest way to explain everything and to accept.
And maybe that's exactly what happened with the Native Americans, because that's why because they were so connected already. Maybe they did see you there do that, spill that coffee, and to them it wasn't unusual. But if right now, in this stage of evolution, you would see a picture of a Native American or an Indian woman picking up the grains that you have spilled, to you would have thought you're insane.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And that back then it was more acceptable. But right now, things need to be spread out in front of us in a linear sort of fashion, because it becomes overwhelming to our senses and our minds to perceive everything happening at the same time. And also there is no journey, right? If everything is happening at the same time, it's an all-knowingness. I go to that state. I don't pass through it every time I wake up, but that state is there, and it's an incredible all-knowing, but there is no time. There is no time there. It happens as a moment. It just bah, and and then you come out here and you have a journey. Over there is no journey. There is just all-knowingness in a split of a second. Everything happens together simultaneously,
and therefore it's not interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So everything has its own beauty, so to speak, every level of reality. And we are in this layer of reality. The moment we realize that this is but a layer, this is not it, right? And the moment we realize that this is a linear representation of something spherical, right? Like a ball of yarn, and then you're just, instead of experiencing the ball of yarn all at the same time, you're actually pulling out a thread of it and weaving into a flat piece of fabric that will then become a sweater. Do you understand that this is what we're experiencing here? We're experiencing that ball of yarn, and we're processing it into something, but that processing is the time, is the pulling out and breaking it down into something that can be rewoven into a garment that we can then wear and experience it not as a ball of yarn, but as something within the physical, something as a thing that will warm our body up within the physical. Because a ball of yarn it's warm, but we can't use it here, right? But it's there, it's awesome. From it, things will come. But if you are inside that ball of yarn, you just know that it's there, right? But you need hands, eyes, body, space, tools to make it into something, to pull out a thread out from within it and begin to process it and weave it and look at it from, different, in a linear fashion. You understand?
I'm lost.
You're lost? Yeah, I felt like you were lost. Yeah, to me it's clear because I've been contemplating on this for such a long time. This is actually one of the very first understandings that I have received, and I actually went on a whole journey of finding wool. Actually, I didn't find wool. I donated money for gas to this lady that needed to transport sheep that whose owner died because he had COVID or for whatever other reasons, but she needed to transport all these sheep from one state into the other, and she needed money for gas. So I donated money for gas, but instead of just not giving anything back, what she gave are balls of yarn. And this was so perfectly timed because I was receiving this information in a way that this ball of yarn helped me understand how it works. And then I had to find a spindle, and that took me on a journey because I knew it all, but I didn't know how to explain it all. Right? All these downloads were pouring into my mind, and I'm like, well, how do I break it down when it doesn't happen one after the other? It happens. This happens well. This happens well. This happens well. It's a breathing, right? It's like a pupil of an eye. Things just expand and they just contract. They don't go one after the other. They go in all different directions, and then they come back in, and then like breath, like the pupil of an eye, like everything in this world. So how do you bring it out for people to understand you? How do you communicate something like that with someone? And that ball of yarn helped me to understand, because I was like, well, here is this ball of yarn, is all this knowledge that is inside of me. How in the world can I take it out? Well, I'm gonna have to learn how to weave. So I have to learn. It's a process. I have to find a spindle. Turns out no, people didn't sell spindles anymore, to first make it into a thread. And that whole process taught me how to process my thoughts inside. And that's the beauty. That's how the physical, you can work through the physical to understand your inner workings, to understand something you cannot explain. But coming back to Dolores and your original question, do we have anything to add to it? The question was, how does it happen that she gets to these moments that are processes that are frozen in time? And how does she, and what was the second part of the question? What was...
Don't remember.
The second part was...
how it can be, because I look at this series as explanation on how the world works, where we're coming from, and so how is it? How can it explain in my life? How is that?
Which particular part of it? Because there's everything there. Everything is in there. But you were referring to a specific part, like why does how do they end up in remembering something? No, something is happening. Let's say there is a scene. Something is happening, but then turns out that this was the past. This scene was the past.
Yes.
Right? And turns out that this was somebody.
And if you go into that past, you still see yourself doing same thing over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you go back, you think it's your present, but from bigger perspective, it's your past, and you've been to this past, and you kept coming back to try to get different results, to change the future, as if you were coming from the future, change results. But even though you act differently in every sequence,
Mm-hmm.
and but you can still
speak up.
You can still enter it again and again, like some line, like you create more lines, but those lines do not disappear, because you can always can you? I don't know.
Yes, I just had a question, like an explanation for you, but it sort of left my mind. Let me try if I can catch it back. It's one of those things where thought it was there, and then I didn't act on it, and it flew by. But everything is happening all at once. Oh, you're able to, because of the distortion. I got it back. Thank you so much. Because of the distortion of this level, because things are stretched so much, right? And because things are sort of in a riddle, presented to us in a riddle fashion because of it, maybe internal distortion, because we cannot pass the source freely through us, or because we want this riddle, because it's interesting this way. But everything happens all at once, and you can go into the past, and we always do. We always come back into the past. But unlike in the movie, in this past where we can change events and the characters present themselves to us as not us. They present themselves to us as someone else, as a stranger. So you're actually looking at yourself, but you cannot perceive it. There is a veil. You think it's someone else. But I've started treating every situation like this is me going through. I remember going through it. You know how many times you meet somebody and you say, oh my God, I remember being where they are, because that's you. You're looking at your past right now. So think of yourself at that moment. What would you need at that moment, your past self? What would it need to move forward in the best way possible? So you're sitting there and you're talking to yourself. Tell them, give them the answer they're searching for, give them a clue. Don't just say something that will blow their mind, or confuse them even further.
That's the thing. At first you receive small messages and you don't pay attention to it. Then you receive, and probably it was an agreement, right? And then somebody has to like fucking smack you,
Don't
I'm
use
sorry.
that word. Please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we can't use that.
We can.
No, not on the recordings, please.
Not on your recordings.
Yeah, this is my recording.
Yes, but it's not forbidden by.
Разве?
Yes.
Okay, well, moving on. Can we not use those words?
Well, okay.
Yeah, I hope that that children will watch it, like young adults will watch it, and they will hear, that you can express yourself without using words like that. But I thought that we can get banned for using words like this.
No.
No, you don't think so?
I know.
How do you know? People use these words online?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if we
and
could
there is
please
a big discussion
refrain,
about that too.
if we can refrain from that. Let's stick to the subject and discuss that later, because I'm sure you have a lot to say about it. I know because we've discussed. But if it would be okay with you not to use those types of words on these recordings.
Yes, it naturally came out of my mouth.
Okay, it naturally
When
scared
it's
me and
naturally
shocked me. I was like,
comes
oh my
up, because the reason, the way I see it, the reason it shocks you is because you conditioned yourself and you hold in yourself the energy. You don't let it flow. You have the structure. Oh, this is bad and this is good.
That you're talking about yourself right now. You're absolutely misdescribing my situation, but you're unable to perceive me because of your own blockages. You're unable to perceive how I operate because you can only see what you are within me.
No,
I just don't use those words. And I am expressing myself, even through these videos, fully and completely. It's pouring out of me, but look, it's pouring out without those words.
And it's pouring out of me with words.
Okay, but can we agree that it's not...
You see, like now you want to control how it's pouring out of me.
I don't want to control. I apologize for that. But I just, in my mind, that's a bad word. The word that can be replaced with something better. And for the one who listens to us, I'm thinking about myself, of course. I'm thinking about the viewer, of course, that I speak to my son all the time about these words, that they can be replaced with much more deeper, meaningful, beautiful words that don't trigger, that don't set triggers, right? And then I feel like when you're saying that word, it's like something ugly is pouring out.
You see, yesterday we discussed some word, and you said it's not a bad word. How you receive it as a bad word, and it's not a bad word.
Oh, but it was a completely different. It was not a curse word. We talked about.
Because we labeled the words.
We talked about.
And that's exactly what it applies.
We talked about the word hard or tough, and you said that it describes that, it gives it a bad meaning. If I describe it as tough or hard, then in your mind's eye you think of something negative. But that's a completely different conception. And I said that hard is the same thing as soft. It's just a different variation for it, right? So
was it hard or was it something else?
Yeah, it was the word hard. We just spoke about it in Russian. It was something like hard or tough, and I said that it's just a different level of softness.
To me, like yes.
But the word that you said, it's not.
Okay, delete.
I'm not gonna delete. I'm just. Why are you so offended by me asking you not to say the curse words? You can explain any meaning that I don't like and don't agree with, right? However you want, just not without the words. I'm not asking you not to explain yourself.
It came out of my mouth.
Okay, well, I understand it did.
If I have to think of every word that as I'm having a thought, and so it came out of my mouth.
But is it so bad from me? Why does it offend you so much that I ask you not to say it while we're recording the videos that we want to put on the channel?
Because not everything's so soft and beautiful, maybe. in
But
me.
it does. Not everything is soft and beautiful inside of me either. But there is a framework for communication online, right? And then if using bad words puts us right, if they're scanning a video and it's a well-known fact that some ideas are not being put through, and then if I'm using a curse word, I cannot advertise it to as many audiences as I would. So
You can
many people of many shows, all the sorts of podcasts, they all wish to curse because they that's how they express themselves, but they don't, because it's their product, it's their baby, right? They need it to be out there.
I came across discussion that if you cannot take the word, if you think of it as bad, then like end of the so meaning you don't have an acceptance.
Possibly. Maybe I don't have an acceptance to that word. But what does that have to do with wanting to have a product that is reaching more audiences because we don't use that certain
So
word?
in this video you can say, my mom used a bad word. Sorry about it.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Okay.
You can.
But
put
you
it
know they
into
do
the
like
description.
bleepers. There is like no nudity, right? You don't go out there naked because they would have to take extra energy to like blur out your nakedness, right? Or if you're using bad words, there's no bad words used on podcasts, because you would have to go and bleep them out. You'd have to go over and over that tape. It's hard work. If you tried to go over a video, put one video together to find something, to find a program that would bleep it out, it's all extra energy, extra work, extra input that is unnecessary.
Or you can leave it and just say, warning, my mom said a bad word.
I understand, but going forward, we're not talking about what already happened, because it already happened and I have no problem with that. I'm just asking you from the very beginning to please not do. I'm like, can we not use these words?
I hear you. I can try.
Okay.
But can I be...
If that means, since you can't curse, you can't be yourself, then where do we go from there?
I wouldn't say that.
Now you're telling me that you are being controlled because I ask you not to use the F word? You're taking something so small and simple and blowing it out of the proportion so hard.
I see as if am I supposed to feel guilty for it?
No, I'm just asking you not to do something, but you're like a child. You're like, no, this is who I am. I'm going to use it. And I'm like, well, it's going to be better.
No, it happened. Why did you got all of this frozen, and then you started telling me like, please do not, you know how bad it's like, come on, it just happened. It flew out.
Okay, it flew out, but can we not do it again? Because I think it needs to be addressed right away.
I'm not the person who is expressing myself with the bad words, but when they come out, they come out.
Okay. Well, let it be that way then. Let it be your way. Let you be yourself and say whatever words that come out of you.
I would like to
if
try
if that makes you feel that you're being controlled by people asking you to be polite, that it's too much control over you, then let's let it go and let you be yourself and say whatever words that come out in the moment.
It upsets me that you gave so much pressure to this little incident.
It cut me like a knife, that word. I don't hear those words often. I'm always by myself. I don't use those words.
That's the thing. It's yes. It's it's easier to be in a nice environment and feel the connection, but then when you to feel the connection with environment that is not very nice.
Well, everywhere that my environment is what I am inside. Do you understand that I spend so much time in a nice environment because that's what I'm like inside. I disconnect. That's why we haven't been in touch for a very long time, because we've completely misaligned. Our reality is misaligned.
Yes.
And what my environments, either it's in nature or at school with my children, nobody uses these words. You know, I'm connecting with teachers, with people, with educators, with people in the library. I connect with people all the time, but I don't hear these words. And yes, your environment is much tougher, but that's something that's going on inside of you that is manifesting as your environment. I used to be a part of a very hard, tough, and rough environment where people used all sorts of words, and there was a lot of bad was happening. But you know why? Because it was happening inside of me. It was happening inside of me. I was drinking, I was doing drugs, I was smoking, I was addicted to everything and anything. I could not see the world for what it is. I could not find the good stuff in it because I was polluted inside. So everything outside of me was cursing words. You know, it was all, you know, whatever. And now, through a long journey and letting go of attachments, working on my inside, my environment changed. And for a very long time, I haven't heard that word that you said, because I'm reading books, and I don't find that there is a shame in that makes me, you know, not present for the bad side. For over 30 years, I've lived in that environment with bad words and bad influences and things and people that hurt me. That's enough. That's a better part of my life that I was there. And now that for the past maybe 3 years that I've entered into the environment where slowly and surely, by changing myself inside, by learning my environment, I was able to rid of those things. I am going to enjoy it, and I am going to protect that environment. And I'm going to protect this clarity that I have created because I deserve it. Because I don't want to come back to where I was growing up. Because that was hard. That made me not understand why I was alive. What was the purpose of this life? And now I see it. I see that life is beautiful and gentle if you reach that layer of reality, if you shed all these negative things from inside of you, and that will reflect in your environment, and you will see how beautiful you are inside and how beautiful this world is outside. And it's worth living every moment, that it's worth just standing under this tree and hugging it for hours in peace and quiet, and you don't owe anything to anyone, no explanation, that you just want to be there in the moment at that time, not hearing what bad things are going on around the world. You have that right. And I have the right to ask if something does not align with me.
Ask me.
But that's what I did.
You created the whole explanation.
No.
Big, long, and you expressed the hurt.
No. You started expressing yourself to me, and I started answering. We started a conversation about it. What I said is, please don't use this, and then you just went into why.
Because your energy that it's reflected of me.
It poured through me. I couldn't control it. That reaction was an uncontrolled reaction, was in response to your uncontrolled what poured through you. Do you understand? That again, it is a reflection of you, and you a reflection of me.
So why did I want to use the bad word?
That's something uncontrolled that passed through you, right? In a passion, that reflected as something uncontrolled with me, a reaction to that uncontrolled action.
Yes, reaction.
Yeah, And the same thing, I can say that you might have said that word because I've reacted previously in time. Doesn't mean that this happened first, this happened last, you know? Right now it's broken down in between of us, but this reality has been sitting within us this entire time. This entire time you're cursing. You are a woman who can pass that energy through you. And I am a woman whose reality is different, who no longer passes that energy through you. And then in a linear fashion, it came out as like this, in the form of speech. But the reality of the inner workings of us hasn't changed.
I think I am a woman who would like to change people's perspective on words and take out all of the so much law that was put on every single individual that suppresses individuals, and so if somebody used a word that to understand that this word doesn't really have a bad meaning. It's not that it doesn't really have a bad meaning. It maybe collects emotions in one word and it's out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Yeah, but you're starting also with, I want to teach people how.
Not to teach people
right?
how. I
to,
would like to create the way to support the way where the words change its meaning, to change a little bit meanings of the words, because I think words are important. Yes, I agree. It does have vibrational levels, and those vibrations, but like to connect new neurological connections with the brain, not to think of it as something outrageous.
Well, but do you agree that if somebody does not accept that, right, or does it creates a reaction of them, would you say that it would be okay to move on to the next person and try another person to understand what it is that you want them to understand, or will you push your message through?
No. First of all, it was never the message I can talk about. As I told you about many words that create right away. They already have this very strong neurological connections between what it means. But reality is it's another game.
But there is an emotion behind that word that you spit out, right? There's like nah, right? Nah, and then you say it. It's like you don't feel that there is anger.
What do you want me to say? I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
We're discussing.
I will not do it again. I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
No, that's not what I want you to say.
Go?
I'm asking to discuss the issue without bringing emotions into it, and to see it from all sides, because clearly you don't see it how I see it, I don't see it how you see it. So we need to discuss it. We need to bring it to light.
No,
and I'm hearing, when I hear that word and you're like, nah, and like I hear that right away with an emotion of anger. So I get startled and react because I feel that push, you know, there is an energetic kind of flow, and then blah, like that. So I go like that, you know what I mean? Imagine this was these words were like a sphere of energy.
I didn't want to use the word, but it came out.
Okay.
I don't know why. Maybe because I'm nervous constantly about my teeth.
Mm-hmm.
And I do vibrate low in many levels. Maybe it is.
All right. Well,
reaction was a little bit that shocked
let's finish up with this. I didn't like what you said, and you didn't like my reaction, but we have to interact, right? We have to, no matter what, we have to move on from this.
Yes.
And there are two ways of moving on: of brushing it under the rug and not discussing it, which actually would be an easy way, right? Would just like move on, right? But then we might run into this again and again. At some point we would have to discuss it. So what we did right now, we just, instead of brushing it under the rug, which we so often do, we decided to break it down and chew it up and digest it right now, right at this moment. Because the thing is, we're staying in communication. We're going to communicate again. This is probably bound to happen again, but now we already know where we stand on the issue. Do you agree?
Yeah.
So yes, it's uncomfortable to discuss something that we disagree on, but in a way, it's either now or later, because
and later, if you keep it for later, it
probably will grow. It accumulate and it will grow.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
Okay. Well, we'll continue later after we do the things that we came here to do, which is get some native plants for our friend whose birthday we're going to tonight. Bye.
Bye.